Last time on Danganronpa, the downfall of Daniel.
CHIHIRO was unfortunately murdered and I investigated his murder with a helping hand this time.
This time on Danganronpa, the downfall of Daniel.
Okay, look, Daniel, oh, you? No. Okay, I like the lights and that violet purple area. Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna take a wild shot in the dark and guess it's about that. Yeah, it is. Thought so. You know the sort of trial, right? You did do it, right? Yeah. Okay, well that's good. Do you want to talk about it? No. It's easier being sad. Okay, well, nah. What about for him? He's not real, August. You're right about that, sadly. Okay, well to me he's not real, but to you, as real as day. And who's to say it's not entirely possible that his spirit, in-game or in reality, wants you to not be sad about all of that. Me. Oh, I got it. Got what? Okay, well, you see your candle? Yeah? I didn't light it. Well, obviously your fire is gone, blown out. Yeah. And sooner or later you're gonna have to be the one to relight it. Or at the very least, hold the lighter. Smells good. Thanks. Rubber oak. Nice. I'll leave you to think about what I said, okay? Okay. Okay. Hey, Dan, sit down. What? We're talking about the trial. Sit down. Okay. You better get ready. It's a long one. The longest one so far. Can I get the popcorn? No! Oh, my hands are getting numb again. It's weird because, I'm not, like, in the, like, revenge mindset that I should be in because, well, you know, I'm just gonna like, well, somebody's gonna die.
Because you have time to process it. We should have done this fresh and right then and there, so that you would have still been hurt.
I processed it in the moment.
That's what they all say. Doesn't seem like it. Look at your Twitter.
What do you mean? Why? What is so bad about-
The whole thread that you made under it. The whole thread that you made of you trying to cope.
Look.
No. Go on, continue. Play your Danganronpa game.
Like last time, I guess. Whatever happens beyond the door, it stays beyond the door. For the most part. So is everyone ready to what? Am I blind or am I missing someone? Yeah, Toko's not here. Oh yeah, she's not here. And Toko is.
You're right, some people are dead.
She didn't die! Toko is not dead! For better or for worse.
I'm saying like, are we missing a few people? Yes, most of them are dead.
Well, yeah, but, kidding, I'm just kidding, how could I forget that little nunchuck? She's a crucial part of the crash trial this time.
I love Coco.
Okay, are you sure you don't need therapy?
Me?
Yes, you, specifically you.
Yeah, who said I wasn't sure? Who said that I didn't say that I needed it?
Good point. Okay, I'll drag her out here, kicking and screaming just for a moment. Yeah, go nuts. It is not, I am not protesting that. Fuck her, and fuck her some more.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean? Oh, wow. I have not
No,
forgiven
she's
her
like
for
having a panic attack. No, I mean that he just dragged her.
Good. I've not forgiven her. I've not forgiven her for what she did to me.
You're going to hell.
I am not going to hell. I am not going to hell.
That's what they all say.
Maybe. I told him I didn't want anybody boss me. Leave you a drag or go around. Terrible, you're terrible. Well, okay, so now everyone's here. Hustle onto the elevator. Let's get the show on the road. I'll see you guys down there. I am 9. I am.
Damn, jump scare.
Who died?
There's like a possibility I'm wrong, because I don't fucking know. I really don't know why he's so surprised about the fact that somebody fucking, did that.
Someone fucking killed someone. What a surprise.
Yeah, it's not even the second time this has happened.
Yeah, it's happened decent amount already.
At least once before. At least. What do you think? I redecorate isn't so fresh, isn't so exciting. Don't waste our time with stupid questions. Let's get this over. Good. You're raring to go. Gotta say, don't hate none at all. Okay, then let's get the show on the road. Everyone, please find your assigned seats. Every time I see Byakuya now, I can only think of that fucking image that I didn't ask to see. With the pickles and the impact font. I think that gave me more trauma than any of this. I'm cautiously optimistic that nothing-ish bad will happen. Or besides somebody dying.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, may the games begin. Obviously, Dumbo was used to kill him by hitting him in the head, but Kiyotaka didn't know that. Yashihiro thinks it was an iron pipe. Kiyotaka agrees, saying it would make for a powerful weapon, but the Dumbo caught my eye and... So you called out the right thing, right? No, and I kept on missing the iron pipe one. Jesus. Hey, eventually I did hit it, but after some shock and horror of looking at the head ruined like blood wasn't painting Chihiro's forehead, Byakuya decided to take a lead in things. Oh boy. He thinks it's obvious who the murderer is, Genocide Jack. So Genocide Jack is in the school. You'll see. Sadly, before I can get to that, there's a new element to non-stop debates again. There's lines of white noise that appear to interrupt my reactions. My true bullets will disappear if they hit them. If I press the right mouse button to attach a silencer, I can shoot down the white noise. But because I'm on the easiest difficulty, I think, they never show up. What if you shoot an actual remark? Time go bye-bye. Anyways, Byakuya thinks it's Genocide Jack. Aoi thinks it's impossible because there's no evidence for it. However, there is. The case file. Exactly! And after hitting the right comment first try, Makoto brings it up. Mondo questions why something like that would be in the library. Byakuya says we should just ignore the why since it would give more questions. It would, wouldn't it? In the Genocide Jack case file, there's 3 defining characteristics. A bloody message and the victim being hanged. The latter of which the public didn't know. So Byakuya made me point it out. Now that I think about what Byakuya said during the investigation... Chihiro was obviously suspended in the same way, so if it wasn't Genocide Jack, how could the killer know about this? This section of the game was what I like to call her redemption and a boiling rage inside of me respectively. I think I just figured something out. Is it that Byakuya was accusing Toko with no evidence whatsoever? What? No, I was gonna say, as he does that. In hindsight, what a dick move. I wasn't even too optimistic about it being Toko. Okay, well, didn't the case file talk about how the killer may have D.T.D.O.D or whatever? The game makes me spell slow. What? Yeah, because the game wants me to help Byakuya prove that Toko is and isn't Genocide Jack knowingly, in comes to Hangman's game where I spell out the first half of schizophrenia. Jesus. Byakuya says it's, and I quote, perfectly acceptable, claiming that her strange behavior after seeing his body is enough proof Toko has a split personality. Talk about being evil. Agreed. Even though she regained consciousness and was as calm as ever, I don't think that proves Jack. Although, Byakuya says there's one personality that can't handle blood, and one that can. I guess that explains how she was acting earlier. Yep, and after some back and forth, we have our first big left turn of the trial. That being? Before the whole murder thing, him and Toko had a strange conversation. He said that she said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid that it could appear at any time and attack any time. Wait, so if that means what I think it means... Toko, for the wars, had a promise with Byakuya. Well, apparently, the promise was so long Toko was in the school she wouldn't... Oh my god, Toko is and isn't Genocide Jack. Yeah, he was trying to frame whoever did this on Toko. Okay, can I please go get the popcorn? No! Quite literally, to quote Byakuya, this is not some romantic fantasy fairy tale, okay? I will get some after. Good. Back to the trial. Toko says that if she kept a promise, he would go out with her. Byakuya continues gaslighting. I fall off of watching all of this happen, so I try to get Celeste to step in since she is right next to Byakuya. Toko officially hates Byakuya. I reply to that, BASED! I hate you now for saying based. Well, either way, Byakuya wants to hear from Genocide Jack. Also, Genocide Jill, not Jack. Makes sense. Byakuya wants to hear from Genocide Jill herself. Well, long story short...
Oh god.
I hate everything.
Me too. You alright over there, Daniel?
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, oh my god. This whole series of events had me feeling dazed again, so I lit a candle. Everyone is left surprised as I got an ego boost. Genocide Jill, who is now with us for the rest of the trial, brings up turning a blind eye. I am... wow. Genocide Jill is saying all sorts of stuff, but to sum it up, two sides of the same coin, or as I like to put it, two minds in the same body. Understandable. Ifumi has a question for her. It's about if she is the mastermind behind all of this. And she is... not. Monokuma confirms that they aren't linked in any way, and says that the police, government, and society are powerless. How does CHIHIRO now coming to know? I have no idea. Monsters get off scot-free all the time just like a Zodiac killer. Wow. Yeah, Byakuya thinks this is enough to convince everyone that she killed CHIHIRO. The motive stuff comes up again, Coco's being told D.T.D.O.D stuff. However, big twist, she didn't kill CHIHIRO. Wait, so who did? Well, first things first, we need to figure out the following. So Genocide Jill didn't kill anyone, no one believes her, and Celeste wants an alibi. Byakuya says that when comparing her past motives to this one, it all matches up very well. Go on. Makoto brings up that there's a slight difference between the previous cases and this motive. Genocide Jill, in her own words, motives with passion and convention, considering herself a professional with a particular way of doing things. That's fair. She even uses a metaphor about how it's like going to a fancy Italian restaurant, and the pickiness of everything. She also compared what happened in CHIHIRO like using Rigel as Chef Boyardee. So it's a copycat killer, you'll see. But there's a clear difference in how CHIHIRO was murdered. Genocide Jill uses scissors, not a dumbbell. But there's also a difference in how the body was arranged. I'm gonna take a wild shot in the dark and guess that since all of the previous victims were stabbed to whatever, but CHIHIRO was hanged, it's how CHIHIRO was suspended. Exactly. And apparently Genocide Jill has specially made scissors, so she has a true passing and doing to do. Amazing. Reminds me of you. Shut up. Nah. Okay, well, there's one more difference. Oh. How so? Well, you, I, and the other two know that CHIHIRO was a guy, but no one in the game knows that. Yet? What? What? You just said. The whole Genocide Jill pattern is boys, men, guys, a dude being dudes, and CHIHIRO is a girl. Did the what? I think our type to do it is a fetish thing, but hey, I'm not one to kink shame. Would definitely help with the rat. I really should have taken up pottery. Genocide Jill would never kill for reasons such as survival. She thinks it's petty. Even then, why would she do her usual method? It'd make her an obvious suspect. And even then, there's the fact she uses scissors and not a dumbbell. Because? Her scissors, they're like a trademark part of how she does the deal. And like a true professional, she has them on her at all times. And she doesn't even know how to tie a knot. So she doesn't know how to tie a knot. She only uses her specially made scissors. Speaking of survival, she has a special way of hanging her victims, and she wouldn't kill for survival. Yep, correct, and yep. Now, I've been writing down notes on all of what's been happening, and you already know, so I don't know why I'm stalling, but it's obvious that the only other person it could have been is Byakuya. Big correct, with the whole being able to just read government documents and police record stuff. So that means Byakuya did it, right? You'll see. But Makoto brings up how she was acting before CHIHIRO was discovered. He wanted to go to the girls' locker room, but Byakuya is a guy. His counter to that is that naturally he should have wanted to go to the boys' locker room. And he brings up that CHIHIRO being a girl was why he wanted to check on the girls' locker room. But he didn't know CHIHIRO was killed. Exactly, but once again, and don't moan about it, but there's a new element. True flashbacks. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the left mouse button, you'll memorize it, but it can only be shot once as a true bullet. If I shoot or change a bullet, it will go away. Thankfully, the flashbacks are saying about with unlimited uses, so if I don't have the right answer, I can memorize a different weak spot and use that instead. Good luck doing future tries without help, oh my god. So Byakuya was acting strange whenever we found CHIHIRO, cause of her wanting to go into the girls' locker room. He says it's because Chihiro was a goal, but as you said, he didn't know Chihiro was killed, claiming that there's no time for pointless distractions.
So what did you do?
Made the fact that Byakuya was acting weird before he found Chihiro a flashback, and going to Byakuya saying that Chihiro was the victim. Makoto now saying that no one other than the killer could have known that Chihiro was the victim. Everything he's saying doesn't stand to that.
And?
Well, for once, Byakuya admits I did something good.
Do you ever?
Sometimes, but that's Plato. For now, Byakuya turns to being a bitch and says my reasoning is too weak, that there is more to it.
Is there?
Well, I didn't think there was, but Kyoko does. She brings up how we talked about the differences between this case and past genocide jack dues.
Really, we should stop referring to MONDO'S dues and do-to-dos.
She says the proof is hidden there. However,
Hidden where?
so once again, Genocide Joe uses her own special scissors, using them for both the doing and the hanging. However, Chihiro was hung with a rope, more specifically a desk lamp, and who could have been the one to have known about the desk lamp immediately? Byakuya.
So I'm gonna take another wild shot in the dark and say that he used the extension cord, since last time we saw the desk lamp it was off.
Bingo. He used it a lot, and the one that was in the library is also the one holding up Chihiro, since it was missing after the doing of D.T.D.O.D took place. To quote Makoto, there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as he does would not have discovered that fact.
Fascinating.
Byakuya, for whatever reason, cannot admit that he had the slightest hand in doing something. Anything. Even a nod at who the killer was, and made a silent blood pact with them that he wouldn't say it was until the end.
Because?
Because he's staying defensive and painting a picture that I know is false. Saying that my conclusion is that he killed Chihiro, hung him up, and wrote the message.
No boy.
However, Makoto in his head realizes that Byakuya is acting like he's not even involved. But he asked me if I think his picture is what happened, and everyone pretty much thinks that Byakuya is the killer at this point.
Is he? You will
See, Makoto wants to talk about the situation a bit more, and Byakuya, I think, is trying to gaslight everyone into thinking he did kill Chihiro and make it look like Genocide Joe did it. However, Makoto remembers that Chihiro was found 100% in the girls' locker room.
go on.
The scene of the crime is odd, because even though Chihiro ended up in the girls' locker room, he could have been killed somewhere else and brought over to the girls' locker room. Byakuya thinks, however, that I am being let down by asking that.
It is always a possibility.
Yep, but what is less likely but still possible is the entire murder scene getting moved.
Oh yeah, because there's a stain on the carpet in the boys' locker room but not in the girls' locker room. And Sakura was in there a lot so she'd know what it would look like.
Exactly again. Byakuya wants reason for my saying. I also might have taken him off guard. Maybe it's because he never realized it could have went down somewhere else. Byakuya now turning red in anger wants to see proof. And to that, I simply bring up the posters. Byakuya is left confused by this.
It did catch your eye when you saw it.
Yes, it did. I thought it was very out of place, because it is. On the opposite end of the spectrum was the boys' locker room having a picture of the boy band mentioned earlier. Odd again. There are also the carpets. Those are fit, and I had a big batch from Sakura.
Yeah, she spilled some coffee earlier, but the carpet looked as clean as ever after the murder.
Because it wasn't scrubbed like how she thought it was. It was actually moved to the boys' locker room. So now, everyone knows the posters and carpets were switched to move the murder scene in an attempt to make it look like a goal for Chihiro. Celeste, however, wants to know why the culprit would bother doing all of that, and if the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, how Chihiro got in, because remember...
No one knew Chihiro was a boy at this point.
Yeah, Celeste brings up the whole handbook stuff. Yes, Chihiro believes he did have a way to get in. So, Chihiro being the ultimate program leads Kiyotaka to believe that he hacked his e-HANDBOOK to get into the boys' locker room, coming to the conclusion that it would be no problem. Yashihiro, however, doesn't believe that it's that, mentioning the mailbox in the main hall with the handbooks, specifically Leon's.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yashihiro brings up that if Chihiro used that, he could have gotten into the boys' locker room no problemo. And somehow, Yashihiro thinking he used Leon's handbook is the right thing to call out.
I mean, you had a 50-50 shot on this one.
Yeah, anyways, Leon's handbook couldn't have been used because it was broken. Celeste brings up the regulation, but of course, if you forgot, the loophole. Byakuya brings up that loaning handbooks are prohibited, but not borrowing ones.
But we still don't know how it got broken.
I myself come to my own theory of it being possibly broken during the initial attack. Either way, this takes us back to Kiyotaka's theory of him hacking his handbook until Monokuma mentioned she couldn't fix the handbook. So now we know he didn't use Leon's handbook or modify his own.
Well, it's not like you're done for yet. I mean, well, you know, he's a guy. They don't know.
Yes, in the moment this led to me believing that it was over. Everyone thinks it was Byakuya, but Chihiro was caught in the girls' locker room. I was almost trapped in a corner. Keyword, almost. Because suddenly Kyoko steps in agreeing with me, thinking I'm under a check, but for everyone else to know what we know, there has to be a needed recess.
Okay, now can I get popcorn?
If you get popcorn, I will quit paying you.
You pay me dollars.
And I do it with a smile. Back to the matter at hand. Kyoto takes everyone to the girls' locker room, wanting someone, anyone, to examine Chihiro's body. But obviously, everyone is uncomfortable by this, except Sakura. Thankfully.
I guarantee somewhere out there in the big wide world that someone really, and I mean really, would have jumped at the chance to do this.
Yeah. Anyways, to none of our surprises, he is boy. Chihiro's boy, and not girl. Gasp.
I'm
Oh,
penis.
sack surprise.
Penis jump scare.
Penis jump scare. Oh, this.
I feel very uncomfortable.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah,
Oh my
no, this child is
God.
very weird.
Well, at least now it's obvious how he got in.
Yeah, killed in the boys' locker room and moved over to the girls' locker room. However, we still don't know why Chihiro was moved over. Byakuya tries to act like he knew to the tiniest degree, but let's be honest.
Yeah, but everyone still think it's Byakuya who killed him. And if anything, the review doesn't help his case because, well, he's a guy.
Yep, but I myself didn't start thinking that. Granted, he did make it look like Genocide Jill did it.
Which she didn't.
But Makoto brings up that he thinks Byakuya didn't do it since he doesn't have a key on the ward. And the evidence is, in Makoto's own words, to revolt. Bringing up how the extension code connects him to the mortal, and I may not be an ultimate psychopath yet, but if it were me in his shoes, I would maybe try to find something that isn't an extension code.
Did you just say yet?
If I see Danganronpa in the wild one more time, I'm going to lose it.
Okay.
But there's also the fact that when Byakuya found out where the murder took place, it surprised him. And it happened again just now. Byakuya is bothered by my lack of concrete reasons, but he marks it as correct. In short, Byakuya isn't the killer.
Well, if it's not Toko or Byakuya, who do you think it could be?
Two people, the half of my full suspects, Celeste and Mondo. The one I suspect the most, and the one I suspect the least.
So at this point, it's a coin toss.
Yes, it is, but we can't rely on a coin toss. Back to the trial. Byakuya just altered Chihiro's body, and for once, he's telling the truth.
Got it.
Now I can get to who the real murderer is, but Makoto wants to talk it over a bit more. Everyone agrees because, you know, get it wrong, die. And the first steps is to finding out who the gender of the killer is. It's a guy.
Well, that's obvious.
Also, I'm gonna need your help recording something after this.
Why? You have two tripods right there.
I want it to look a Sword Ray.
I really should have said no.
So now at this point we need someone, anyone, such as just pipe up about seeing Chihiro ass, and hey, I may go. Because why keep sequence in a life or death situation?
Well, what does she have to say about Chihiro and seeing him last?
She saw him in the warehouse stuffing a track jacket in a duffel bag. She assumes he then went to go exercise. However, there was no track jacket or duffel bag anywhere in the school. Sakura believes that the culprit destroyed them.
You know, from what I remember, didn't Chihiro say he was in a hurry to encounter with Celeste?
That he did. Celeste thinks the reason why he was in a rush was because someone was waiting for him. However, even though both Sakura and Aoi invited him to exercise multiple times, he would decline every single time.
Probably because of the fact he's a guy.
Yeah, but Celeste comes to the conclusion that whoever he was with must have been someone he trusted a lot.
Funny.
I don't see what's so funny. If I was in his shoes, I would have done the same thing.
No, it's funny that he didn't trust you because all you can do, or could do, is think about him.
I mean, I like to think I'm a trustworthy person. I just have an ungodly low stamina for everything that isn't yoga, and I just do that for 10 minutes.
Hey, it's so funny to me.
August, I know we don't see eye to eye often, but that is one of the worst things you've done during one of these. I gave you a valid answer, and if Chihiro was outside of my room right now, he could very easily confirm. You were going with an answer based off of your own opinion of me as a human being, and not the fact that I am not a strong person. If I had to consign you, he would be Kiyotaka, because even though your heart isn't the right line of work, you fall heavily short because of stuff like this and making a joke about someone being the killer just because it was someone that respectably. Fuck you.
Okay then. Sorry. My bad.
I'll accept it if I feel like it. But now, all that's needed is to find out who he was walking with. It wasn't a goal, and it had to be someone he trusted a lot. Logically, and in hindsight it's obvious, but in the moment, it wasn't.
Okay, well it seems borderline impossible other than getting insanely lucky.
Well, I am not that, but there is one thing. All we have to do is think back to the tracksuit in the duffel bag. Celeste thinks it's insane to do all of this even though she saw it.
in Chihiro's hands. Kyoko brings up that we can talk some information out of Celeste, and now he does just that. Celeste says that the duffel bag was just a normal one. However, Sakura remembers that there was a fair amount of tracksuits to pick from. So it's more so a matter of who remembers the tracksuit Chihiro had. Pretty much, Kyoko wants to talk more about the jacket he had, since it would be a big help to exposing the killer. So we know Chihiro is going to work out, but we need to know why he went with the tracksuit he had. Yutaka thinks because it matched the one the culprit had. Cute idea, but unlikely. But Mondo what? Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's him. It is very much him. He says it's blue and everything. No, okay, So yeah, we know who did it now. It's pretty much over at this point. Continue. Makoto asks Mondo what he said. He's confused about it. Makoto brings up Celeste and nothing about the jacket's color. He then asks why he said Chihiro's blue tracksuit. While Mondo was confused or surprised about what he said, Byakuya then asks Celeste what color Chihiro's tracksuit was, and to that she answers blue. And since she told me, I was one of the only few people to know the color. Could have made a more grand reveal. Sakura asked Mondo how he knew the color, and as he tried to come up with an answer, Yutaka tries to defend Mondo by saying he saw the clothes at some point, but that's impossible because the bag and clothes were disposed of before the investigation. He just said it on the spot. Genocide Joe brings up that the only way Mondo could have known about the color was because he saw Chihiro with it before he died, and she had then asked him if he saw the tracksuit. Did he? He answers just by chance claiming to see it last night, that Chihiro was walking past him when he saw the tracksuit. But according to Celeste's testimony, that's not the case, because Chihiro tried to completely hide the tracksuit. So, if the two passed by each other, it would be rather hard to see the color. You see, the reason Kyoko had been acting racy was, in case if you're curious at all, is because our main suspect was Mondo. But why was she so suspicious about him? Well, according to Baze, it was because of how he spoke, but how he was acting is also a valid way to continue the trial. That barely answers my question. Well, that has to do with how Mondo refers to men and women. He calls guys, dudes, and girls chicks. And after Chihiro died, Mondo referred to him as a dude. And once Kyoko realized that, it was over way before it began. So it was like last time, but in a very different way. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I know. Makoto asked Mondo if he killed Chihiro, and he starts getting defensive, saying he didn't kill Chihiro or putting words in his mouth, that we're treating him like a criminal. Yutaka agrees with him. So it's over, right? You know, speaking of over, I thought it was really over for me. There were no more leads, although the way Mondo was acting is more than enough evidence in my opinion. However, while my part of the spirit slowly began to boil, Hifumi came to save the day. Again. Your opinion of him changed a lot. During the investigation, Hifumi found some evidence. A handbook. It was laying on the ground. Who was it, you ask? It was Chihiro's. His was missing from the scene of the crime. Sadly, however, it is busted. Celeste thinks the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence. Okay, but how did it get broken? Well, the weak point was hit during the attack, so logically, someone figured out its weakness. Monokuma knows what the weakness is, but he won't tell us because someone could copy it. But after at least I promise no handbooks will be broken from me, he says that the weakness is when they get exposed to high temperatures for a while. They just break, like in real life. That is a false reveal. Maybe. But Hifumi found it on the floor of the sauna. I'm gonna keep things short by saying that the only way the culprit knew its weakness is if they had this happen before, on accident or on purpose. Mondo just so happened to have his handbook on him while he was in the sauna with Kiyotaka. Because he was in there with his clothes on, right? Right. Kiyotaka gets more defensive over this and wants more proof. And it just so happens that there's more proof. This one took me quite a while, but to make it short, if what Makoto is saying about Mondo is correct, he broke his own handbook. And if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, he's right. Now, Mondo says his own handbook works fine. Kiyotaka agrees, saying he wouldn't want to fly. He literally punched you in the face. Yep. So what's the main point for this? He thinks the broken handbook that was in the mail hall is Mondo's. He thinks that Mondo swapped his handbook for a broken one, and Leon's works. So, he switched his handbook for Leon's handbook. Because of this, his handbook should have never been broken, especially during the execution, and Monokuma confirms. There's a lot of switching in this. Celeste says that the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, meaning that the handbook on Mondo's is actually Leon. But doesn't that violate the rules? Monokuma says it doesn't because if someone is dead, they're not disputed, so it doesn't. Now it's a rule. An official rule. A gray area here admits, but he is a sociopath. Fun. Yep. but there was almost nothing left. If I'm wrong, Mono can say so. Kiyotaka, now being slowly filled with denial, asked Mono to say is wrong. All of it wrong. But if we look at everything one more time, it will all become clear. So Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse stuffing something into a duffel bag. The something was a blue tracksuit. Holding the bag, Chihiro left even though it was nighttime. Chihiro then went into the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could Chihiro, who everyone at the time thought was a girl, get in? Because Chihiro wasn't a girl at all, meaning he could use his own handbook to get into the boys' locker room. Once in there, he met with someone, the same someone who would kill him. Seemingly, the killer grabbed the dumbbell and approached Chihiro and bam. That's how the blood was on the carpet and poster. Be it the heat of the moment or what, the body was arranged, but the murder was unplanned in every sense of the word. Because of that, the killer hurried to hide the evidence by pulling up the carpet, poster, and Chihiro's body, then putting them all in the girl's locker room. However, the girl's handbook would be needed to get into the locker room. But because it's unlikely that the killer was the girl, the killer would use the Alco Junker's handbook that would remain home to get in without much trouble. Now in the girl's locker room, the killer did their best to make it look like Chihiro was caught in the girl's locker room. To quote Makoto, you might call it a crime scene switch. It would have been over it if it wasn't for Byakuya finding the post-switch crime scene. Byakuya being Byakuya decided to make it more complicated, or as he would put it, fun. Using the inspection code from the library, he got the world to make it look like it was Genocide Jack, we now know as Genocide Jill, and Alter of Toko, was the one who killed Chihiro. All while Byakuya was creating his facade, the killer, having disposed of Chihiro's bags and other belongings, was at the sauna. There, they were going to destroy Chihiro's handbook to get rid of all the evidence. And as the killer had suspected, the sauna was enough to ruin the heat. Somehow, the killer knew the handbook was no match for the heat, and that is exactly what happened. However, similar to last time, it was a bullet time battle. But Mono gets all offensive and junk into hand. Well, it's actually different this time. Kiyotaka isn't shocked at all of this since him and Mono are bros, apparently, so he wants evidence. And Mono's handbook is just enough evidence. So now means it's time for a bullet time battle, the execution, and everything in between. I have no idea why this game has such a big push on showing us new information, but yeah. New stuff for the bullet time battle. Enjoy. If I press the spacebar, fever time might happen, and the tempo will go to its mad speed. So, if I press buttons at random, me missing is borderline impossible. However, this is only until the focus gauge runs out, so I have to use it wisely. However, again, the opponent has their own thing called Mega Time, meaning if the opponent activates it, my tempo marker will disappear, making it harder to hit buttons in rhythm. What if you activate fever time? Who knows, the game doesn't tell me. Thankfully, but my game is set to gentle, no Mega Time, and I think it's been on gentle this entire time. Okay, well, how did the battle go? I hold at the start because I forgot how bullet time battles work. However, thankfully, after checking the rules, I was on a running streak. After a good near minute, Kiyotaka says that without any proof, none of this can be handled on him, if it wasn't for the handbook. It's more than likely that Mono replaced the handbook with Leon's. A real easy way to figure this out is just to check everyone's handbooks, but thankfully, Mono comes to his senses and accepts defeat like a man. Well, that's a good thing. I think. The killing part, no, but at least he knew enough was enough, unlike some people. Well, let's just get on with the execution. Oh, not so fast. What? We still need to know the why. We know the who, what, where, how, when, but we don't know the why. I hate you. Hey, look, to make it up, I'll try to make this part as quick as possible. Anyway, there was once a young boy, and his name was Chihiro. He had an extreme inferiority complex regarding the lack of his own trait. He was so weak, you know your boy. He heard things like as long as he could remember, he couldn't overcome his weakness. On the contrary, he tried to hide and bury himself further and further into that weakness. To take on the fragile, he had chosen that as his way out. To say anything, you know your boy, but no matter how tightly wrapped himself up in that shell, the inferiority complex had already taken root deep inside of him, and was not so easily weeded out. As it turned out, the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear, instead it only grew stronger and stronger. I'm weak. Weak. Once the killing game had begun here at the school, he had no choice but to accept this fact. After all, this world is survival of the fittest. If you're not strong, you don't survive. And the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing embarrassing secrets, which of course included Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. Even though he dresses like a girl, Chihiro is actually a boy. That was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. That was revealed, it would be the end. The hardened showed crackling yelling would follow it. But without a doubt, those around him would torture him more than before. Everyone figured out being thrust into such a dilemma and must have sent him into his violent despair. And yet, I also don't believe things shows, so maybe I can talk about it later. After I try my best to become strong, then I can tell everyone. Unknowingly, he used to further discovery to motivate himself to become stronger. Strong and accept I am strong enough to die when someone says even your boy. I'll be okay. I'll get better. With that thought, With that thought at the front of his mind, he resolved to take immediate action, and so that day he made a commitment to begin exercising. He was prepared to retrain in his mind and body. But sadly, that would be the fullest and only chance he would get at it, and he decided to start exercising. He thought it would be good to ask someone for someone's help, but he wanted to tell that person his secret foes, and then ask him to help him from Dale. And the person he went to, it was me. Yep, it sure was. The biker gang fella had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were, so CHIHIRO probably figured that even if he confided in Mondo, his honor would make him keep the secret. Plus, Mr. Macho Mondo was very simple of the strong man that CHIHIRO always aspired to be. Maybe talking to Mondo about helping give him some courage, so he went and asked Mondo to help him become strong. That was his aspiration, and he thought that only with Mondo's support would he ever even become close to that. So that must be one did what he did to keep the promise he made to CHIHIRO. Oh, what did he do? You mean that's why Mondo carried CHIHIRO from the boys' locker room into the girls' locker room? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. It wasn't that to cover what he'd done. That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men that he made to CHIHIRO. But how does moving the body keep a secret? Because if everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once it's out up, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect his identity, so he tried to protect CHIHIRO's secret by putting him in the girls' locker room and stealing his handbook, see? Mondo did all that to keep the promise he made to CHIHIRO, who he'd also killed. Why would he do that? Because no matter what I did, I didn't want anyone to know. The possibilities of having embarrassing memories and secrets exposed. That's impossible, nothing could have been that bad. The judge utters by own standards to hide it fully. Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can. That's all there is to it. Well, while on the subject, why don't I tell you? An embarrassing memory, the secret I didn't want to know. You know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. This motherfucker has it.
Okay. You just need to hear Mondo out on this one.
I'll hear
it's a
it
sad
now.
story.
I'll hear him out. My mind immediately is going to, it was an accident. Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader, makes all the put-ums and riff as a consequence tempo. But the only reason he had the chance to join the gang in the first place was because of his own son. Mondo's whole brother's name was named, I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce that. Mondo nothing but
Daya.
Daya, okay, thank you. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of the silly-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together a local motorcycle gang. Before anyone knew it, had grown into the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, #1 in the gang, and his #2, his older brother Mondo. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy, but Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over his game from his brother someday. His brother's greatness and reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. Almost every day, Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other gang, which is why, no matter what I got, I need to get what it takes, okay. And on that night of his amazing brother's retirement tournament, Mondo challenged him to a street race. And during the race, tragedy struck. The kid brother pushed ahead of a reckless man and eager for victory and dashed on the oncoming traffic. But suddenly...
I'm not dead, I was just sleeping.
Oh my god, I mean, he's... Oh my god.
I mean, he's dead. He wasn't just sleeping.
But laying in his kid's brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid, I fucked up, sorry. Of course, he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened. Hey kid, the rest is up to you. No matter what, you gotta keep the king together. Because that's the team, you and me put together. It's a promise between men. He decided to hide the truth of what happened from everyone else in the gang. In order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother, he can never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that caused the accident. As a result, the team was medium drunk and ran up the kid who bested his big brother. Daya was going to lose to his kid brother, so he was stupid and got himself killed. That became the explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to lead the team so bad, he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother. Strong, ugh. Strong. As soon as our killing game began, he had realized how tough he pretended to be. He was another recon that died against him. Then the lovely, hateful MONOKUMA. And now it's revealing embarrassing secrets. At that point, it was clear I would have no problem to line on the secret. No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. Even if that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked to create would have been destroyed. His death, all the good I've been carrying, it all would have been for nothing. So that's why I, oh no. After I saw what MONOKUMA had of me, my head felt all kind of, kind of fuzzy uneasiness and just started swirling around. I'd never felt anything like it before. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after I had a fuzziness and lose it. Into a rock-hard lump of anxiety weighed down in my stomach. It was right around then that CHIHIRO asked me to start walking out. Right there, he told me a secret. Seriously, Jesus. Yeah, I'm sorry I lied to you. But why now? Why are you telling me this all of a sudden? Because I mean, you've kept it a secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would. You're right. But I want to change. I wrap myself in lies and make on to destroy the force in me foul. His words were like a knife in my gut. I felt he was exposing a lie I was living myself. I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong. I can't hold you right. Whatever secret MONOKUMA might tell us. So you're saying I should just say it? Saying if really I should just be able to tell everyone my secret. I was jealous. I was jealous that CHIHIRO's strength. He had the strength to face his own weakness, to try and overcome it. It was the kind of strength I'd never had. So I was jealous of him, and that jealousy broke me. Are you making fun of me? I'm showing. Are you fucking with me? No, I'm not making fun of you. You are strong, Mondo. I felt like I could hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What do you want me to do? What I was supposed to do? Was I supposed to sit back and let my secret get revealed and ruin everything? What's on? Why did you have to tell me that? You're trying to rip my film in my face. No, I just really admire you. You're strong. That's
Calm
right.
down, Mondo.
I am strong. I'm strong.
That's bullying, bro.
Jesus. When I woke up again, he was lying at my feet, covered in blood. I had a dumbbell in my hand, and I was just staring you at him, down on the ground. Hey, I killed him. I killed CHIHIRO. Oh no, he was so normally aggressive, so he had that weak side away from everyone. That was the secret. A weakness like that lived in us all, and he told him cold-blooded. I still let me see you all just like him. No secret found of has full memory, but he killed another human in cold blood. He couldn't get free from his regrets from the outside world. He doesn't know what true strength is. Do you see hope anywhere in Dale? Because I don't. It's not right, the punishing. That's what I promised, right? The blackened at the slopes of peace will be punished. Oh, hold on. Now then Oh, I think I know what this might be.
Oh
I
no.
think I think I can guess from here. I don't know.
Punishment time.
Well,
Fantastic.
Yippee, our punishment time.
Yippee, seeing someone get murdered, my favorite. Stop crying. Get murdered already.
Keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
man,
Yippee!
man.
All that sadness really made me have a distaste for an execution, but I don't care.
Man,
HHH.
I love. Actually, no, this execution's decent.
exactly what I was thinking. Ugh.
Funny haircut.
God.
Wait, how is this? Oh. What the fuck?
Mondo
Oh
butter!
no, what the?
Yum yum yum.
Yummy yum. What the hell?
To be honest, I don't feel clean.
You okay?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Another mortal and another execution. I want to feel like in everyone's life, so taken until I do. I feel like I might be going mad. Maybe I'll just let it happen. What is the point? This is the end of the game. But yeah. You're completely insane. You know that the game, one of our friends is dead. You do realize that? Of course you do, because this is a game of life or death. I don't have anything to say. I don't have a response, except that I just don't understand why. Why did you gotta avoid this guy's Mondo's crime? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because it made things more interesting. His voice was so calm, emotional, like the voice of death. It chilled me to the bone. Last night when the morning took place, I was in the library as usual, so you ignored the nighttime one too. That will never matter to me. I don't recall agreeing to it. Well, I don't particularly care. Please continue. And the night grew late, and I decided to return to my room, which is when I stumbled upon him. I spotted Mondo coming out of the girl's locker room. After he had gone, I looked inside and saw the corpse. I mean, you actually witnessed the murder. He was such a fool, he didn't have the slightest idea that I'd seen him. So you're saying he knew who the culprit was from the very beginning. And even if that had been the end of it, how long would that have been? And I mean, what a waste of time to have the answer revealed right at the beginning. Which is why I decided to lend a little helping hand. I thought it would help liven things up. It did all that to liven things up. So after hearing about genocide back in Tokyo, decided to use to create the fake mortal suit. But then, hey, if we hadn't figured out who'd really done it, you'd have been dead too, right? Well, obviously, I would have feared the truth before it reached that point. But of course, Byakuya turned looking me in the eye. I could feel his sharp eyes piercing into me, thanks to some remarkable someone it never did, and I was able to perform an interesting experiment. Once I do decide to become the Black, and I know who I'm gonna have to watch out for. That should have been obvious from the get-go. Fuck you. Literally, go fuck yourself.
Mark my words, I will do everything in my power to make sure he will not win. Be it he gets killed or he isn't the only survivor, he will not win.
Well, I'm gonna go.
Oh, and one more thing.
What?
Well, it turns out someone who was killed is actually working with Monokuma. Who? I don't know. Yet.
Oh well, bye.
Hey,
Oh my. Ugh.
and left.
Toby. Oh, that is. Oh my yuck.
What the fuck?
Well, that was that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright. Yeah.
You know, it's weird. I talked about the entire trial, all the twists, turns, the backstory, the execution, and the secret that someone is in cahoots with Monokuma, and I don't feel normal, even though it should be all off my chest. I mean, I understand that it's hard to get invested in something from someone you don't care about, but no, it's probably not that. Oh, I thought I closed that. Let me just... Hello, hi, look, I'm sorry about what happened, to both of you, I wish we could have had more time together, and even though some people may think I'm beyond saving, I mean, look at me, I'm talking to an image, but hey, for what it's worth, I think you're strong. I mean, seriously, being able to push out what at this point random strangers think about you just to be able to achieve your goals takes a lot of strength. And just, I just want you to know that even if we didn't have much time together, I'll remember every second of it, just only if it was under better circumstances. One more thing. Obviously, it's going to be a long journey to beat the game. I'm barely at the halfway point, and the game on average takes 25 hours to beat, and I've been playing it for 15, almost 16 hours. If I want to be able to beat the game without being hit with grief after each and every execution, I'm going to have to be strong. So, I promise I'll beat the game. Not only for me, or for you, but for everybody. Because while on one side, at least in game, there's who knows how many motives for doing the do, there's the one ultimate motive. In game, it's to escape. But for me, it's to avenge the fallen, including you. It's gonna be nothing more than an upward battle, but I will do it. Because I promised, and I never break my promises. Well, this may be our last goodbye, but I like to imagine somehow, somewhere, we'll meet again. Thank you, goodbye, and good night. Throw whatever you have at me, the both of you. I'll be more than ready.